Hello, Sports fans. Ribbo here for Cowbell Gaming, along with... who wants to be first? Alphabetical order, I guess Boomer's first then, right?
Pick me, coach. I can do it.
A is for Andrew.
Hey,
And C
guys.
is also for Clayton, which comes before E for Earlham or C for Craig. So, like, all of your first names and last names are also in alphabetical order with each other.
I'm just the best.
And
Like all the school things, isn't it? With getting line for injections. Oh yes, Mr. Clayton, you're first.
Yeah.
who wants the jab first?
TB for you first.
Get it out of the way.
And it's hello from Craig.
And last, but not least,
Because
he
I'm
hasn't
still
been
fat.
dieting. Yeah, it's almost like we have the same sense of humour.
It's Lee.
I'm going to briefly talk about the fact that in 3 weeks' time, all the decks that are out at the moment are completely irrelevant. So, because of that, I will be releasing. A couple of months ago, I grinded to legendary, got up to like EU position 180th with my Pally deck, which is like the weakest class Pally. I think we've all agreed it sucks. So it was quite the accomplishment. So over the next 10 days, those 10 videos will be popping up one at a time, just to give you guys a couple of weeks to play the deck if you want to play the deck. The big thing from it, of course, was like for the last 6 months, I've been playing Hogger in all of my decks. And then, for some reason, a couple of weeks ago, a lot of other people caught on that Hogger's actually really good. I was like, no! People have realised my secret tech.
Oh well. Just have to pick some more.
So I think this new set is going to certainly get me and Boomer interested because we always like the deck building, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Any game.
I think what sort of because we've played, we played Magic for so long in an era where there wasn't a hive mind like there is now. So
wasn't the internet?
Well, there was. There
Back
was
in
just
there.
There's the dojo, and that was about it.
No,
But,
you had your website.
What with my 10 tournament reports on it. But we could literally just design decks for like 3-4 months in a row.
Never got bored of doing it, right?
Never got bored of doing it, and the problem kind of now is that every format's solved within like 3 or 4 weeks.
This was one of the reasons that I didn't really talk about the deck I played, because it was different to all the other Paladin control decks.
I think you weren't playing Humility, right?
I wasn't doing the humility Kodo thing that a lot of people were. I had other stuff in there. And so because of that, when I was playing people, they were making play mistakes because they went, oh, he's Paladin, he's this build, because there was apparently only one build. And my deck was like significantly, maybe like 7-8 cards different to all the other builds. And because of that, people played suboptimally.
Yeah, I mean,
And
that's definitely...
It harks back to what me and Boomer did, right? We built new decks, and it wasn't that they were technically better. It's just that people misplayed horribly.
They just attacked the metagame from a different angle, and everyone misplayed against them horribly.
Yeah, that's how you beat people.
Yeah, one thing that's actually come up recently, there was a Q&A regarding Hex, and everyone's saying, oh, Hex's format is solved at this point. And the guy who actually is in charge of the design team says, actually, there's something like 3 tier 1 decks none of you have found yet. It's just a case that, like, everyone just went, I want to put $150 into my deck, which meant that they played the same deck constantly, and other people just went, I'll try and beat that deck. But, we've already done that a little bit in Hex. With some of the decks we've actually built, we've just attacked the format from a different angle and actually got really good results.
So anyway, you got all those videos to look forward to on the channel over the next 10 days. And for the moment, we're going to look at all of these cards that have been spoilt in Hearthstone. So some of them we might talk for 5 minutes. Some of them will take approximately 1 second to talk about.
Spoiler warning, right here. Spoiler warning if you don't want to see spoilers.
The first of those cards is, this one, commonly referred to as the double Goldshire Footman.
Yes.
Yeah. Powerful stuff.
2 mana for a 1/2 with Taunt and Divine Shield. and he seems to ring bells as well, and blow a horn.
Sure, he's the Golger footman with bells on.
Well, there's ticker tape involved.
Golger Paladin, shouldn't it?
Yeah, he's worse than Hind Creeper, that's my opinion on him.
Now, he's a mech, so obviously he's got a lot of mech interactions in that respect. So it's not just a case of he is 2 Golger footmans.
Yeah, I mean, we've already seen sort of with Hunter how, like, you know, the beast synergy all in Hunter, and it looks like they're trying to build that in now, where, however, mechs are neutral, whereas obviously beasts are pretty... I mean, there are some neutral beasts, but most of them are sort of confined to Hunter. It's like the mechs seem to be across all classes, so that means that if you're playing Arena, you can just... You can't... The problem is...
Potentially...
Potentially you can, but because of Arena's sort of randomness due to it being a sealed deck format, it seems to be a very big risk to sort of try and force a mech synergy in Arena. It's like, it seems like if you get it, you're just going to 12
To explain to people, the 120 cards are just going to be lumped in with all the other cards you can get in Arena, which will hopefully mean less flame strikes.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing to come out of this.
Well, that's less True Silver champions for you.
The thing is, like, Pally really doesn't have any good Pally-specific minions. Like, there's four minions Paladins have, right? Argent Protector, Tyrion, Follow the Rules guy,
and Guardian of Kings.
And Guardian of Kings, like 4 minions. And you'd think that Pallies would be big on guys, right?
Well, you make your 1/1, there's your 5th.
But it's the class that you think Paladins, you think guys. You think dudes, schmoes.
Only Blood Elf Paladins, I think, guys.
Like, instead, we just get terrible secrets.
Yeah.
So hopefully that'll be fixed, and we'll actually have some more guys to play with. Sounded a bit...
Yeah, your Paladin's obviously a Blood Elf male.
So what's the next card we're going to be looking at anyway, Lee?
Spider Tank.
Ooh.
It's the 3-cost 3/4 for 3.
Well, that seems fine.
It's a mech.
Better than certain epics that are 3/3s, aren't they?
Everyone now has a 3/4 for 3, where they didn't previously. And of course, being a mech, it might turn into a 3/7 for 3.
Yeah. And Priest is still better, but then again, Priest now gets 2 3/4s for 3.
And what is next on the list, Lee?
Upgraded Repair Bots. 5-cost, 5/5. Give a friendly mech plus 4 health. It's battle cry.
Priest needed
And
more
Priest.
above cost efficient cards, yeah?
This can actually target it. Can this target itself with its power?
Allies can never target themselves in this game.
Okay, because I was just thinking, doesn't that just mean this is a 5-mana 5/9, which means it's ridiculous?
But no, yeah. Relief there. But it seems absolutely fine just to take it in Arena anyway, because I actually think 5/5 for 5. There's a lot of 4 power guys currently in Arena, aren't there?
Chilwyn Yeti, those sort of guys, yeah.
Well, it's Priestess Stranglethorn target, but it gives a guy a health boost instead of having stealth, right?
Yeah.
But being a 5/5 as well, though, like, it's got a good chance of eating something, and then the priest being able to heal it up afterwards.
Yeah, that's the big thing, isn't it?
And get it rolling, right? Because when you're playing priest, you kind of get tired of getting like the 4/2s for 3 mana and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You want stuff with fat asses.
Yeah, you want Gurubashis and things like that.
That's it. And there's nothing before 5 mana thing that'll actually kill this off, is there? You know, apart from the Tiger, until you get to 6 mana. You know,
no, there's a 5/4 for 4, isn't there, in this set? Am I imagining
this set? There is in this set, yes.
There's only one though. Isn't that rare as well, or is that common?
We'll come to it later. But we'll come to it later.
Next card is my favourite from the new set, Voltron.
Cost please, no suing. It's VO7.
So we're going to cover Voltron first, because there's a way of summoning Voltron that we'll look at a bit later. And this is what you get when you get to Voltron.
Charge, Mega Wind Fury, can attack 4 times, and it's a 4/8.
Now, I'm pretty certain you will not be able to craft one of these, because it's 8 mana for 16 damage. So I'm fairly certain the only way you'll be able to get this card
is through
Mimiron's head.
Or what about the card that's also in the set that summons a random legendary?
We'll
That's
look at that one
possible.
as well. So what's next on our list?
Valen's Chosen. Give a minion +2/+4 and spell damage +1 for 3 mana. It's a priest spell.
Give a minion the original version of
Now,
Dalek Mage.
Craig, you like the priest cards, right?
I do.
Yeah. How do you feel about, say, making a 3/2 on turn 2, and then slapping this on it turn 3?
So in effect, we've got
A 5/6 on turn 3. Feels like it's just gonna beat stuff up, right?
More silence is needed.
Yeah, you play it. You play it on a turn. You kill an opponent's minion. You go, yeah, fine. Next turn, you heal it back up. Seems quite good. The spell damage bit on the side is okay, but you go, what have you got? You've got a smite. You've got Holy
Nova.
Nova, yeah.
I'm pretty happy to play this in priest. I think it's just, is it not just better Blessing of Kings? That one mana difference.
I think it's better than Blessing of Kings being 3 mana instead of 4.
And we've just talked about how good it is if a priest has something with a fat ass, right? So this makes something with a fat. I can see you casting this on turn 3 on your Northshire cleric and just going to town.
Yeah, of course, that's the one.
3/7.
Keep your clerics alive, yeah.
Especially if you go turn 1 Northshire cleric, turn 2 coin.
Yeah.
Turn it into a 3/7.
Or you could go turn 2, hit your 1/2 if someone's playing one in arena. Heal my guy next turn. Play this on it. Kill your 3-drop.
Seems a bit
2-drop.
funny on one of those Death Lords.
Yeah.
412.
It-
I got to use error.
Yeah, because then you know your opponent has to silence it.
Yeah, true. So it's got no downside. Wait, with no downside.
So next card. I think this card's bonkers. We've agreed.
Which one is it?
Next card is Cogmaster.
Yes.
One cost, 1/2. He has 2 attack when you have a mech.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So for people who build mech decks, I mean, he's not a mech himself. You know, he is a dwarf. Or a gnome, possibly, should I say.
He's got a huge beard.
He's got a
so
beard. Gnomes also have beards, and it makes sense since the game is called Goblins versus Gnomes, that he'd be a gnome.
Here's the comparison you need to make. Better or worse than Undertaker?
Worse, obviously, because
Yeah.
the fact that the Undertaker gets 3 toughness is what makes it ridiculous.
So you ain't playing him because he ain't got death rattle. This is constructed. Because he doesn't buff your Undertaker. So I just don't think he's going to play in constructed.
Yeah, you'll be playing some Clockwork Gnomes. But we'll get on to that later. So what next we're looking at then?
Doctor Boom. Not a rip-off from anything. 7-drop, 7/7. Decent stats, battle cry. Summon 2 boom bots. Warning, bots may explode.
You might just want to scroll through the list to show people a boombot briefly, so they can understand what that is.
See if we can find it.
Yeah, so you're gonna dig it out there.
There it is.
So there we go, there's the boombots.
1 cost, 1/1. Death rattle, deal 1 to 4 damage to a random enemy.
Roll the dice.
And so, back to the big guy then. Obviously, the downside to the card is that he has 7 power.
Yep.
Big game hunter.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think
If he was 6'8".
If he was a 6/7, I think he'd be better than being a 7/7.
Can you see him playing in control? If you're looking at control, I think you'd still play him in arena, right?
Well, it obviously depends what other legendaries you're offered. If you're putting it...
He's not a bad one.
No, he's not a bad one, but
Now, the
there are some
boombots do
ridiculous ones.
2.5 damage each when they blow up.
Plus they're a 1/1 as well.
On average. Yeah, I was just getting to that, plus they got 1 power as well. So, realistically, unless you're super unlucky, they're taking out a 3/3. Like, if they just have a 3/3 in play, you can run your boombot in, and it's like a 50-50 chance of killing off that 3/3.
What do you think to the synergy with this and the warrior cards that do 1 damage to everything? Do you think that might be a thing in constructed?
Well, it doesn't synergize at all, does
No.
it?
Well, it blows up the bomb bots and blows them up.
No, because it stops once the minion dies. That warrior card.
No, I'm not talking about bouncing blades. I'm talking about whirlwind.
Whirlwind.
Play Whirlwind,
Right,
do your
you're
opponent some
triggering
damage,
off
right?
the explosion on you, but the reality of it is, but then you're still losing that on the one damage that it could have done if it actually hit something itself. So, alright, you're getting an instant bonus, but that's what 7 mana for this guy. Was it 1 for Whirlwind? So that's 8 to basically potentially.
Yeah, you'll be doing 1 less damage with your boom
a
bot.
50-50
You do 1
chance
more
of
damage with the
hitting.
whirlwind.
Remember, it's a random enemy, so it can hit your opponent, not just his minion.
Yeah, that's what I want to do. Like, I want to just shoot my opponent in the head.
I don't think you'll play whirlwind.
Okay, just it was a question. We'll get
I
an
think
answer.
stuff like Boombot and other things they might replace other current warrior cards that are used. But, we'll get to that in a bit.
And the obvious use for me is you total up your 2 little 1/1s, you've got 2 of the blockers that are going to take out your opponent's guys, while this big guy goes to face.
Depends how he summons them, though, doesn't it? He might summon them either side of him.
Yeah, because Onyxia summons 3 whelps either side of her.
Interesting, yeah.
I mean, if you can get them two...
Snake Trap summons all to the right. When it goes off.
It'd be interesting if you could Defender of Argus or Sunfury protect them both.
Mm-hmm.
Are they classed as mechs, the little guys that come?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, the bots.
That's also, yeah.
So
next card.
Enhance O Meccano. The 4-drop 3/2 battle cry. Give your other minions Wind Fury Taunt or Divine Shield.
Now,
Upsetting brackets
Boomer.
at random.
Boomer.
Yes.
Isn't this what we refer to as a win more card?
Yeah, pretty much.
It seems like if you're ahead and you just get the Wind Fury or the Divine Shield, you've just won at that point.
Yeah.
But it's like, all my guys have got balls, I'll trade them off with whatever guys you've got.
So you need to be ahead on board and make this guy.
And then you've just won. And if you get the Wind Fury, then obviously it's nuts.
I mean, his stats for his cost are crap. Yeah. So, that effect has to be very, very good.
It's not a card
Smells like dusting.
Now, I'm often wrong, but it's not a card I think we'll see any play in Constructed.
No. Those upsetting brackets kind of ruined it there. Would you play, if you could choose, how powerful do you think this would be?
Wind Fury
6 mana?
Everybody, yeah.
I think it'd have to be 6 mana for a 3/2, because if you just want one that gives Wind Fury, and then you just want to make lots of guys. So you're probably going like Token Druid or something.
You just go, make my first one, he gives everything Wind Fury. Make my second one, he gives a well-designed shield. And kill you.
Yeah.
Anyway, next card.
My favourite card, Explosive Sheep.
Yay!
I want to get me some of these bad boys.
Well, they're common, so you probably will.
Shouldn't be too hard to pick them up. It's basically Explosive Trap for every player now. Not just hunters get to deal 2 damage to everything.
He does Death Rattle as well.
The mage gets to blow it up.
Right, this one hits you yourself and your opponent.
Indeed. So
I
maybe
still think you
use
can
that
maybe...
to your advantage, right?
I still think you can play this with Undertaker, but it remains to be seen.
Hey look, Undertaker plus Death Rattle. Check out the synergy.
Yeah, doesn't really work with Undertaker, but you never know.
The next card, Madder Bomber. 5-drop, 5/4.
See, Maddie should be here for these things.
Battlecry deals 6 split. So unless you're Ribbo, this will hit some random things. If you're Ribbo, you're going to 6 yourself with the first one you play.
Yeah, you're going to hit yourself in the face.
So if you got angry with Mad Bomber, you're going to get twice as angry now.
Yeah. If you're Lee, you're going to flame strike your opponent's ball.
Now, it might just be me, but I feel you want to play this card the turn after you play a Gurubashi Berserker.
Could be pretty good.
Potentially turning the Berserker into a 21.
So if
it goes perfect.
No, you could do a Throttling Berserker as well.
Frothing would work.
Yeah.
Although you probably kill the Throttling. You go.
Yeah, you
2,
probably
3.
would kill the
Don't
Frothing.
hit it again. Oh my god.
But Gurubashi being a 2/7, definitely going to survive.
Next one, Piloted Sky Golem. 6
What a lovely
mana.
card.
I really like it. I really like the artwork as well. 6 mana, 6/4, Death Rattle, summon a random 4-cost minion. I am all over this in Arena.
Lee, you love the artwork. Now, previous to this set, all of the artwork was from the original World of Warcraft card game, and they just reused it. Do you recognise all of these pictures from the new set?
Oh, no, none of them.
So these have definitely been commissioned, right?
I think so, yeah. Maybe they had some money lying around and thought, we'll commission some.
So the stats, 6/4. How much would you pay normally for a 6/4?
Like 5, maybe?
5, yeah.
No, probably 6.
Maybe even 4 mana, to be honest, because there is a 5/4 for 4 in this set, but and it's got a little ability as well.
Yeah, we've just seen it. It was the Mother Bomber.
Yeti's a 4/5 for 4, and that's pretty much as good as it gets for 4 drops.
So
I think 5 for 6/4.
maybe this should be 5 mana, even just off the stats. So it's either 4. It's about 4.5 mana. So the fact that you get a 4 drop afterwards
is bonkers.
Surely it's like 8 or 9 mana's worth of stats.
Well, unless you get obviously
get that 3/2 with battle cry.
Well, you don't care if you get a 2/4 off it, because even then it's worth 6 mana. Like if you get a Gnomish Inventor or the Dragonling Mechanic, which are both 2/4s, they don't get their battle cries when they come in. Like you're still paying 6 mana for
10 mana's worth of stats.
What have we got in the category of this? If you're taking a pick and you saw this against an ogre, you're going right.
I take that.
Yeah, you get that. So you draw an ogre. The thing is, like you said there, if you draw the ogre, you go right, hits board, it runs into this, it survives. Potentially it then run in ogre into whatever it spawns. You even out. If you're playing a class like a priest, or you can heal up the ogre, and then you run into the 2/4 the following turn. This guy still keeps going. Like I said, it's good for stats wise, but that random element says, you might well get a 2/4. You might well get something.
Well, that's the thing. The 2/4 is the worst 4 drop, isn't it?
I can't think of anything worse. There's a 3/3, right?
There's a couple of 1/7s, a few 3/3s.
So I think even at the worst minion you get
6 points of stats.
Is definitely worth the 6 mana, and the fact that you could get a 5/4 replacement.
It's decent stat wise.
You could get a 5/5. Actually,
moderated by the fact that all those stats aren't there in one turn. Your opponent's got in effect multiple turns to deal with.
That's a good thing. Because of cards like Flame Strike
or Fireball. Like if someone fireballs this and then you get like a 2/4, you're so happy.
Yeah, whereas if they fireball your ogre, it's like you're very sad, aren't you?
Yeah, it just gets pinged.
Yeah. So from that respect, I think that's why I love cards that give the value. It's like Cairn Bloodhoof. In my last arena video, I had a choice between Cairn Bloodhoofs, Sylvanas, and the 8 Kel'Thuzad, which is a ridiculous first pick for Paladin, ridiculously tough pick between the 3. And I went with Cairn just because
value.
Just value.
I just think this guy's awesome. I don't think you play him in Constructed. I won't say that. Because I'm obviously looking at these cards from
the piloted. I think it goes into like control decks.
I think you just play Cairn in those decks, don't you?
Yeah.
Less random. That's the thing.
No. The fact that it's got 6 power is actually really important.
I guess the thing is you've got competing for 6.
Cairn runs into a lot of 5 drops.
Yeah,
you've got 5s.
Sylvanas as well, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, you got Sylvanas at 6 as well.
Anyway, next card. So me and Ribbo think this is great. Anyway,
Piloted Shredder you're talking about? Lots of cards I really think are great.
The next card's Unstable Portal. 2 cost, add a random minion to your hand, it costs 3 less.
Random,
yeah.
I think this might be a sleeper.
There's no way you can control it, that's the problem.
it gives you a mana. That's the upside.
The first question is, what class is this for? Is it for Warlock or is it for Mage?
It's Mage.
It's Mage, isn't it? Yeah.
It's got the blue on the outside. It feels like it should be for Warlock, because Warlock's
summoning Portal, yeah.
But it looks like it's got the Mage.
Yeah, it's Mage. It is Mage.
I think you're looking at interactions of using spells, aren't you, really, to get the maximum benefit of this?
So,
the downside being, obviously, if you get a minion that costs 1 or 2 mana from it.
So here's the big upside, right? This is what I see it being the best. You play it on, for some reason you can play it on turn 2 and then your opponent does nothing, and then on turn 3 you make a 6-drop.
That's like the perfect scenario if you get lucky.
The worst one is you cast it, you get a 1-drop or a wisp.
You don't care if you get a 2-drop because you can play it instantly for free, right?
Or a 3.
So you're paying 2 mana for a random 2-drop. What you don't want are the wisps and the 1-drops.
I guess you would hope, given the average mana cost of things, that you're going to end up with something around the 4 mana mark.
I think it's a sleeper. I think it's very interesting. I'm not sure it's good, but I'm not convinced it's bad either.
It's cards that are absolutely random, rarely turn out to be amazing.
Or more to the point, Boomer, they have to make them ridiculously powerful to get played. You know, even if it's only slightly more powerful, people would rather not have that random element.
The only effect like this I can remember being played, certainly from Magic, was Gamble from the start, which is basically search your library for a card, then randomly discard a card or something along those lines.
Yeah, that was Gamble.
But that's Magic, and that's another game.
But you know that even then the tutor effect wasn't random. You know, so the thing that I have about this card is that there's no control over what it gets.
So the evaluation is random card is random.
Pretty much, yeah.
Probably move on.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's look at the next one.
Next one is Sneeds Old Shredder. 8 cost, 5/7, summon a random legendary minion. And it's a mech. I love this as well. I will play this in control.
Legendary is 2 mana.
Yep.
And is
Could be
can backfire.
Could also be Nat Pagel.
Yeah.
You can get Pagel, Blood Mage
Cho.
Thanos,
Okay,
Cho,
Or Walker Cho. You can also
and
get
Millhouse Mana Storm. But his
Millhouse.
Battle Cry doesn't trigger.
So that's fine. It's a 4/4.
Which is 4. Yeah, he's a 4/4, so that's fine.
So worst case scenario, you're getting a Nat Pagel, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Well, I'd say Lore Walker Cho's the worst.
Well, it's a random legendary minion, so it could be that.
Yeah, Lore Walker Cho's the worst you can get.
Best
Even
is
with
Voltron,
Pagel.
right?
See, Ribbo will be hoping that Troll Dormu comes out of this every single time. It's like, now you can play quickly, damn it.
No, Voltron, right? That's the biggest upside.
No, I just
Even
think
Deathwing, you know? Good 12-12 body.
yeah.
King Crush doesn't seem too bad.
No.
You've got to remember, though, like, your opponent can't really kill it on their turn. Because then you get to attack immediately on your turn with whatever
Yeah, I'm playing this in control.
you've picked up, so...
I'm probably dropping Ragnaros and playing this.
And maybe getting Ragnaros afterwards.
Thing is, it's 5 power as well, so it can't get big game hunted. It can get Shadow at Death, though, which is a bit of a pain.
But that you want that, right? You want to summon that legend afterwards.
Yeah, it's like if you Shadow Word Death, you get something
They
out.
have to silence. It's just yet another card they have to silence.
Yeah, I'm thinking people are going to be playing 2 Owls and 2 the 4-drop guy as well.
Spellbreak.
Yeah, that's what we're seeing with all this, isn't all the random death rattles that seem quite strong. It's like silence seems obligatory.
So we're agreed this card's good, right?
Actually, I think Priest will get more powerful because of all the mind control effects that Priest will have. And we'll
Yeah,
look at
trigger
one
the
of
death
those.
rattles,
We'll
yeah.
look at one of those potential things in a bit with Shrinkmeister.
Yeah.
Oh, he's
that one.
amazing.
Oh,
Let's go on. Let's not talk about it.
Mech
unless it's
Warper. 2 cost 2/3. Your mechs cost 1 less.
I always get worried by effects like this.
So it's an enabler, right?
Yeah.
Again, I really like the artwork.
But we don't know quite what all these mechs are going to turn out to be. We don't know whether the mech deck will be competitive or not until we've seen the rest. But
Seems fine. Like,
The effect stacks, right? So if there's multiple in play, you get 2.
Yeah.
Max cost 2 less. Yeah.
yep, and they can cost 0 mana as well, which potentially can be abused.
yeah, I can see combo written all over this at some point if there's something that comes out.
Mhm.
But anyway,
Especially if you can copy your mech warpers.
Miracle Mech coming your way.
Right, so next card.
Micro Machine. At the start of each turn, gain +1 attack for a 2 cost 1/2 mech. Now I'm assuming that's your hero. Gives +1 attack.
No, this gets.
No,
Yeah,
the
I've got
micro
it
machine
off.
itself. So, like, you
Okay,
play
then,
it,
it's
and then
gash.
if it survives, it becomes a 3/2 on your next when you get to attack with it, and then it becomes a 5/2. But it'll never survive.
It'll never
rubbish.
survive. It'll just get killed.
So it's just 2 mana for a 1/2.
So next one, Mimron's Head.
And
The
this
sad
can we get
words.
Voltron.
At the start of your turn,
Yes.
Yeah.
If you have at least 3 mechs, destroy them and form Voltron.
Destroy them all. So it destroys all the mechs.
Yeah.
You know, don't fill your board with mechs. But one of the other funny things is that your opponent don't even have to kill Mimiron's head. They can just kill one of your mechs to leave you with 2 mechs.
Although he is a 4/5.
Importantly, also, it doesn't destroy that card, does it? It just destroys the mechs.
It is a mech.
itself, so it destroys itself.
Well, so
Destroy
potentially-
all mechs.
Is it all mechs?
Yeah, destroy them all.
Ah, yeah, destroy all. Yeah, at least 3 destroy them all. Yeah, okay. Okay, so no. Yeah.
I think they've
But you
messed
get
up
the
the
hit for
artwork on
16.
this.
Yeah.
I don't like the artwork at all on this either. I think they really
All
messed that
he
up.
cares about is the artwork.
Obviously, yeah.
My
So-
precious artwork.
So Ribbo's favourite so far, I think. The 4 cost 4/3, piloted Shredder.
Yeah.
Death Rattle, summon a 2 cost minion.
Yeah, I'm quite fond of that.
Yep. Stats are respectable, same as a Spellbreaker.
So you're going to get like a 2/2 for 2 as a random 2 drop, aren't you?
Yeah.
Generally, at the worst. Well,
Yeah,
you
I think
might
it's
get that
amazing in Arena.
now. So it feels like you're getting a 6/5 for 4.
Yeah, it does feel quite good.
And mainly, though, it's going to trade off with nearly anything bar a Yeti, isn't it? When you drop it turn 4, it's going to kill pretty much your opponent's 4 drops
Yeah,
unless they're lucky.
it's only Yeti and Water Elemental.
Yeah.
Or that all trade favourably with it at same mana cost.
Okay, so amazing card. Move on.
Mhm.
Flame Cannon. 2 cost, mage card.
Crap.
Deal 4 damage to a random enemy minion. It's
Crap.
crap unless they have 1 minion.
Yeah. And even then, I'd still rather play Frostbolt.
Yep.
Do 1 less damage and decide where it's going.
And
Maybe
freeze.
even do it to the face.
My favourite card probably so far, the Bomb Lobber. 5 cost 3/3, battle cry, deal 4 damage to a random enemy minion.
Yay, FTK.
Surely we've just said Flame Cannon's rubbish, right? So what's the big change of it not being rubbish with this guy?
It's
He's
on
a
a
guy.
body.
It's a guy.
It is on a body.
Yep, I'm a fan.
Flame Tonkavu.
And admittedly, the stats are not good for 5 mana, but he's probably going to kill something on the way in.
Well, you're not playing him unless he's killing something on the way in, to be honest.
Next one's the Bomb Bot, we've looked at that. Goblin Blast Mage. 4 cost 5/4 mage. Battle cry, if you control a mech, deal 4 damage, split among enemy characters. Randomly split.
Lovely, doesn't it? It just seems fantastic, really powerful.
And it's another 4 mana 5/4.
Yep.
Yeah, stats fantastic, abilities. Yeah, lovely.
Ridiculous, yeah.
We're going to have another little chat at the end, once we've looked at these. We're going to talk very briefly about... Oh. We're going to talk briefly about Craig's washing machine there. No, we're going to talk a little bit about power creep. So I just want you to
Be thinking about it.
be thinking about that, because Goblin Blast Mage is a good example of a tiny bit of power creep from the first set. It's like 5/4 for 4. There really aren't that many of those
So-
cards with an ability.
Here's Mr. Flavor. 9 cost, 9/7 mech. Mechania Thermoplug.
Mechgeneer Thermoplug.
Whenever an enemy minion dies, summon a Leponome. Give me a big hug. So this is the boss from Gnome again, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's been making a lot. I think this guy.
Now, he actually goes into aggro decks,
Even
because
at 9.
you already need to have minions out when you play him. Because the idea is that you have a few minions out, you play him, you trade your minions off with their minions, and you get a bunch of Leponomes that are going to do 8 damage instantly when they die.
However, you are playing a 9-drop in an aggro deck.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot you can do afterwards.
I think
is there?
he's rubbish, but
Yeah.
amazingly flavourful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. But he can only be played in aggro decks. You can't play him in control.
You play him in mid-range.
No.
Next card, Shrinkmeister, 2-drop, 3/2. Now this card,
Oh,
Dear Lord.
God.
there was a 2-drop in the World of Warcraft card game that was a 1/2 that did the same effect, and he was first pick in draft.
So we were having a nice drive over to Knowles, weren't we, the other day?
Yep.
And I was reading the spoiler list out to you, and I got to this card. and I asked you to name all the possible ways you could interact with it to do ridiculous things in a priest deck. And one's slipped your mind, but what was the first way you thought of?
I can kill 4 power guys with Shadow Word Pain was the first thing I thought of.
So first of all, it was like Yeti's no longer the problem it used to be. What was the second way you thought of?
Shadow Madness. I can nick your guy and bigger guy and smash it into you.
So you can pinch...
Sylvanas, let's be honest. Sylvanas.
There's a really good example of one. Yeah, pinch your Sylvanas for the turn, run it into your other big guy, watch them both die, and laugh. Now, what's the next way that I had to remind you of this particular one?
Steal your Ysera permanently with Cabal Shadow Priest.
Yeah. That's just...
You've forgot an amazing way it interacts.
Boom.
Kill your guy, my guy doesn't die. I like that way.
That way
we'll
also...
talk about that, but let's briefly think about this, about how good Cabal Shadow Priest. And conversely, because of that, for 8 mana, you get to go make a 4/5...
A 3/2.
3/2 and pinch your guy. But also, how important 5 power will be. Because I think that'll skew the meta game. There'll be a lot of people playing priests.
I think a lot of people...
2 copies of that card each.
I reckon a lot of people will miss that interaction. At first glance. I did. I didn't even think of that. I was so excited to just be killing their minions with my worst minions.
No,
I mean, Shadow Priest is an automatic 2-of pretty much in Priest anyway, isn't it? So it'd be like Shrinkmeister is just incredible. I think it just gives Priest such a different, outlook on everything. The Shadow Word Pain, it'll be interesting how they try and shoehorn everything in, because like Shadow Word Pains now. A lot of priest decks were going like the multi-Shadow Word Death route. It's like Shadow Word Pain now becomes an option for things like Twilight Drakes and stuff like that, which would usually just give you an absolute fit. So, this guy... I mean, he's a 3/2 for 2 as well, so he's not even underpowered for his cost.
I think he's an automatic 2-of.
The thing is, I think a lot of 3/2s now are just going to be chump, really.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cards here that are doing 2 damage to minions, and it's just like really easy to sweep the small stuff out of the way. But his battle cry sends it into overdrive, personally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's going to be like a really strong tempo priest deck that'll come out of this.
But yeah, it was like you were saying, Lee, as well. It's like Shrinkmeister is almost like a priest, can also be used almost like a priest Argent Protector. It's like very similar to like bubble my guy, hit your guy, gain tempo.
Think of this, right? You're playing against Hunter, you're going first. They make like a 2/1, and you've made your Northern Cleric. I mean, just going my Northern Cleric. I know you want it to take damage, but you also want to commit to the board, right? This is just an example. You could just say, your guy has no power, kill your guy.
Yeah.
And then you can just make like all your guys at every drop essentially get to trade up for free, and then you get to heal your guy.
Well, this is obviously Blizzard attempt going. What's the meta dominated by? With the top end of the scale, and it's aggro, isn't it? Where Warlock aggro, Hunter aggro, and it's turn around saying,
yeah,
right,
but there's priest aggro already though with Undertakers.
Yeah, but even that, this card will work against people playing that version of it. You know what I mean? Saying it's turning around saying, right, we can now in effect slow the game down by allowing the control decks a little bit more time to say, right, it's not going to necessarily kill aggro, but it's going to sit around and say, well, now your matchups are far more favourable. You're just going to spread the whole field of actually what decks are going around that a little bit more.
Yeah,
it's a bonkers card for so many different reasons.
I'm playing Priest when this set comes out.
I honestly, if there's any reason for me to play Paladin, I'll play Paladin. I think I'm playing Priest.
Yeah.
We might have a Caravel Gaming Priest deck that we all try and legend with or something, I don't Depending on how far we've got in the WoW expansion.
But, you know, we haven't had any Pally cards spoiled
No,
yet.
so we haven't
Because you're not getting it.
Maybe they've suddenly realised that the weakest class in the game needs some really strong cards.
No, I don't think you're getting anything.
Priest has got that, and Velen's gift, or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
And they
So-
got the Dark Priest, and they got the Dark Cultist from Naxxramas. So,
so
got
just-
a pretty big buff from the last two sets.
So just looking at those cards, you just go, eh? And it's got the upgraded repair bot, so you might play some mechs
So,
as well.
moving on. Next card, Recombobulator. Brilliant name, rubbish card.
Yeah.
2 cost, 3/2, battle cry. Transform a friendly minion into a random minion of the same
Now,
cost.
you all think it's a terrible card, but I think Recombobulator's going in the same deck as all those other priest cards. Because you get to go, Shadow Madness your guy, turn it into another guy. Oh, look, you don't get your guy back.
I guess it sounds. I mean, the other thought I thought was your guy. You know, you got a 6/7 ogre. It's now 6/1. Trade it in back for something with similar stats again.
Yeah.
We said the same
Make it
thing.
into
I
a
said the
Sylvanas.
same thing to you, didn't I,
Yeah.
Boomer?
Yeah.
I said, you know, use it on a big guy that's about to die. It's like a heal to full.
Yep.
So it's not as terrible as people think.
So, summary, Lee's wrong, moving on. Next one is Gnomish Experimenter. 3 cost, 3/2. Battlecry, draw a card. If it's a minion, transform it into a chicken.
That is unfortunate.
This seems ridiculous in Miracle Rogue.
Just so everyone understands, chicken is 0 mana for a 1/1, right?
So it's a wisp.
Yeah.
It's a wisp, isn't it? Because you know the poultryizer that produces chickens,
And they're no mana 1/1s.
and I believe if you bounce them back to your hand, it's a 0 mana 1/1. So it's basically the equivalent of the 30th card in your deck is turned into this chicken, if it's a minion. So for 3 mana, you get a 3/2 and a 1/1. Which, what does that remind you of? Which card does that remind you of?
Well, 4/3, so that would be the.
No.
The 2/3 and a 1/1. Yeah.
There you go. He's got there eventually. The ball.
Yeah.
Razor
Ball
Fen
on the
Hunter.
side. Right. So it's a 3/2 instead of a 2/3. So it's the equivalent in power of the Razor Fen Hunter. Though you can argue whether it's better as a 3/2 or a 2/3. However, if you don't draw a minion,
You draw a card. Yeah.
Like I think it's brilliant in like a Miracle Rogue shell. I think it's going to go in there, especially if you Shadow Step it and then play it again for 1.
Although if you draw
I mean, you're
one,
sad
it's
if you hit
auctioneers,
your-
You hit your auctioneer, and it's like you are a very sad man. At that point.
Don't.
Well, you're looking at like 80% of the
because
time it draws you a
auctioneer was
card.
the 30th card of your deck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's this trap that people have when they're talking about drawing a card, and it might be bad to do. So it's like, oh, what if my top card's this? It's like, but what if it's not? It's got the same chance of it not being, or more chance of it not being.
Yeah. But any time it is that top card of your deck, you just treat it as though it's the last card in your deck, which will happen some of the time. You know, it's a card that you'll never get to use because it's at the bottom.
Unless you're in a priest mirror, at which point you will see the
I think this is fine. It's going to see constructed play.
It's fine. There'll be some way
It's
of
okay. Yeah, I'm not convinced. Again, the random element will deter people, and the stats are okay. There are, for 3 mana, you can
They're
get
bad
better,
for a 3
better
mana.
things, can't you? Then the crux of it is what's it competing with. Yeah, it's okay with average cards, but there are better 3 drops out there.
Well, but it's the fact that it will go into a combo deck of some kind. I mean, that's the thing. That's the shell of it, isn't it? You're not going to use the card fairly.
The other thought is presumably chicken is a beast.
Yeah, I think so.
But whatever happens, at least you got chicken.
Yeah.
So next card is Clockwork Giant, 12 mana, 8/8.
Oh, look, another giant.
Free
Yeah.
card against handlock.
Costs 1 less mana for each card in your opponent's hand.
But then
Most
they get
cards
to
in
use
hand
them.
is 10, so cheapest it can be is 2. But
They're probably going to have an answer, right? If they've got 10 cards in hand, they
Yeah,
can
they've
probably
got
deal
10
with it.
cards.
but will they have an answer on turn 5? Is the question. That's the big thing.
Well, if they haven't, they've probably played their own giant anyway.
Their own giant. Yeah, exactly that. Yeah.
Well, then it trades for a giant, so then is it a bad card?
But I mean, yeah, it's not a good card.
If we had sideboards in Hearthstone, I think this would be
I
playable.
think-
Yeah, it's like if
Generally-
you had sideboards, it'd be fine, but like you don't have. I mean,
Generally, it's going to be terrible against Zoolock. Whether Zoolock's still a thing, I don't know.
It is.
It might-
definitely is.
Not necessarily, because there's going to be a lot of explosive sheep running around if the metagame switches to Zoolock.
Well, most of its creatures are over 2 toughness anyway.
what about playing it with like King Muckler and
Yeah, I was just going to say in the
and
overdraw
Coiling
deck,
Oracle,
right?
It's called the Cold Like Oracle. Both players draw 2.
I can see it jumping into a combo deck like that. The whole you can draw your deck rogue deck.
Very situational and relying on more things to work, isn't it? Whereas would you just then
I'd
not
rather
like,
just have
a better
Rack
giant?
Fair.
Yeah.
Next
I'm going to
card,
stick to Rack.
Tinkertown Technician. 3 for a 3/3. If you control a mech, gain +1/+1 and put a spare part in your hand. Ribbo, what's a spare part?
Well, if you keep scrolling, you'll see some of them.
Is
It's
this
like
the
tiny
Finickety
rusty-
Cloakfield, Emergency
reverse
Cooler, Rusty Horn?
They have a different colour. They're not spells.
Yep.
They don't say spell at the moment, so you don't get excited at the thought of Miracle Rogue drawing lots of cards one after the next. Though, Questing Adventurer
Yep.
still go nuts. So, if you have a mech, it's 3 mana for a 4/4, and you get one of these cards. One of which will unsummon one of your minions. Another one will give plus
We'll have a proper look at them. I've just flicked through them.
+1 power, +1 taunt, +1 toughness. One will give taunt. One swaps health and attack over. I think one even might give a shield. I'm trying to remember. Yes, Finicky Cloakfield gives stealth.
We'll have a quick look at them anyway. I've just flicked through them all for everyone. So, but I think this guy's fine, especially in arena.
He's ahead of the curve if you have a mech.
And he's on the curve even if you don't in arena. So
So next card is Bouncing Blades, 3-cost warrior card.
boing boing boing.
There's a YouTube video of this card in action. So if you go onto YouTube and just do a search for Bouncing Blade, Hearthstone, you'll see this card in action, and the animation looks awesome.
I think this is fine. Especially if you're playing Armorsmith, seems fine. If they've got just 1 minion on the board, seems fine.
It's not that great.
Yeah, it's just kill if there is.
It's like
one
Armor
thing on the
Smith
board,
doesn't
kill
make it OP because you're just paying 3 mana to gain 8 health or something. So, since when has health been the incredible thing it is? But other ways that you can abuse it. I mean, we've already touched on.
Gurabashi.
Yeah. You'd have to be really unlucky for Gurubashi to be the one that dies.
Frothing Berserker as well.
Yeah.
Lights.
I think it's fine as just a 3
Lights
mana
of pain.
kill your dude. If
Yeah.
they go Yazera,
If it's the only minion out, yeah.
you go Yazera, you go play this card, it dies.
So it's going to go into a control shell, like a heavy control
I think
shell.
it's only a one-off, but yeah.
With not that many minions, so you're going to be playing some weapons and just big guys, and again brawl.
Or stuff you don't mind dying, like death roll things. I can see playing Unstable Ghoul in the same deck as this as well. Stuff like that, you don't mind dying.
Well,
Acolyte,
you do mind
play.
Unstable Ghoul dying because you want it to actually stop something that's attacking you.
So, what do you think?
I
to
don't
playing
like
this?
the idea of paying 6 mana just to have a whirlwind go off.
No. What about this idea then? Acolyte of Pain and this card when they have 2 or 3 minions.
Acolyte of Pain's fine.
Yeah, I think it's great with that. I'm just trying to think of what deck it'd go in and what you could play with it. I think it's just a
I
fine
think
card.
it goes into a control shell.
It's
Really.
just control
Warrior or
Yeah,
something.
that's it.
Next card is one of the spare parts. It's Finickety Cloakfield. Give a friendly minion stealth until your next turn. And then the one after that is Emergency Cooler. Freeze a minion. I think that's pretty powerful as a spare part.
Yeah.
Rusty Horn, give minion taunt. Tyranny Miner, bouncer, guide to your hand.
The one I really like is Armor Plating.
Armor plating, give a minion +1 health.
That can have a huge tempo swing.
Reverse switch, swap minions attack and health. Whirling Blades, +1 attack. And then we're on to another card. Clockwork Gnome. 1 drop, 2/1. Death Rattle, put a spur part into your hand. I think this just goes in the Undertaker decks.
Yeah. It's like it might even replace the
Lepano?
Lepano. Might even replace that, depending on how useful the spare parts are and turn out to be.
So one after that, this is one of my favourite cards that's been spoiled. The 3-drop weapon, Ogre Warmaul, 4/2, 50% a chance to attack the wrong enemy. Do you think of this in an aggro warrior deck?
Now, important to realise that if there's nothing out on the board, it just attacks your opponent's face. No.
So this is a Paladin card, right?
Nope, warrior.
It looks like it's got a
it looks
Paladin
like
border.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, on the thing, isn't that because it's a golem?
Yeah, it says class warrior. It's just
okay.
got the but it does look like a paladin card. But yeah, it says class warrior on it. No.
Plus, it's an ogre warmaul, which
Seems more ogre.
seems
more
more
warrior
warrior
type.
than Ali.
What do you think then? Burn spell?
4-power weapon. For 3, it feels like a burn spell.
Thing is,
Yeah, it's just face
can it?
filter, isn't it?
The question is, can it attack past taunt? If there is a taunt minion and a
of course.
person,
You just attack the taunt, and if it'll change it, it's like misdirection for hunters.
so I think that's really powerful in like an aggro warrior deck. I really like that.
Just
You
like
know,
face warrior.
yeah. What used to have Arcanite Reaper? I think I'd play this over it.
Well, more than
Would
likely.
you play
yeah,
the 4 weapon one? Yeah, 4
Yeah,
power.
you play that
Because you're playing warrior.
I'll say over this. I'm thinking, the random elements almost think.
Playing both.
Yeah.
Go to the face.
Yeah, I guess
The
you
next one is one of Ribbo's favourite things in World of Warcraft. 5-cost Blingtron 3000, 3/4 mech, Battlecry.
I always run around looking for Blingtron start every day. Craig knows this.
Yeah.
Yep, definitely. Equip a random weapon for each player. So I think this is very good because this warrior's got a weapon. You just play this guy, he gets a different one.
And
What's
of
the
course,
upside?
Boomer, what did I say to you? Because you said this was crap. And I said, haha, but what do you get to do for 10 mana?
You get to cast Harrisons.
Harrison! Yay! You get to go, you can have a Doom Hammer, I'll have 8 cards.
I think it's fine. I think the
I mean,
5-drop slot in those kind of decks is pretty poor at the minute as well.
I mean, the other fact of the matter is you get the weapon first, so you get to use it to greater effect immediately.
I could see Ribbo playing it in an arena and him getting the rogue dagger and being like, no!
No, but it'll be like you get Light's
Rust
Justice.
Dagger,
Your opponent
is
gets
that is that the worst one?
Your opponent gets you get Light's Justice. Your opponent gets Gore Howl or something. You just get the crap kicked out of you by it.
No, you get 7 damage dealt to you with Gore Howl.
No, he just beats up the Blingtron, right? So
Yeah.
technically it means he has haste as well.
Yeah.
Charge, sorry. But no, I think this guy's fine, just because of how rubbish
How you can
5-drops
abuse
are.
it as well. Because I'm pretty certain you probably have a Swampoos in the same deck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It feels like Harrison or Swampoos is then guaranteed to be useful.
To not be a dead card. Because I saw a lot of the games at the World Championships where they're like, I've got this 5/4 in my hand that's just a 5/4 now. Because you're playing Druid.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't smash up your teeth.
And that was the last card. We're back to the Annoyatron.
So, given these are all the cards have been spoiled, I want to talk briefly about power creep, which is something that has ruined a lot of games. Lee, particularly the original World of Warcraft.
Yeah, you've said you've all heard me bitch about this before, the stupid Edwin Van Cleef. But yeah.
So, originally, in the other World of Warcraft game that this game heavily copied off, there was a card called Edwin Van Cleef.
He was
Why was this a bad thing for Lee?
Well, every single deck could play him because he was a neutral minion.
Mm-hmm.
And at his cost, and for 2 cost above it, he was probably the best minion you could play. Then when he died, you got to put his sister into play for free. So every single person needed a copy of this card.
Now, you were limited to 1
Yeah.
deck, but it was also quite hard to get hold
It
of.
was a legendary equivalent.
It was a promo, wasn't it? Some description.
They printed as a promo to help people out, apparently.
Yeah.
But it was just ridiculous.
At its peak, what was the price on the card?
Over £100.
About
So,
$150.
It was WoW's Chase the Mind Sculptor, basically, pretty much.
No, it was worse because everybody needed it. If you were
Wasn't
playing
everyone
your
playing Core Blade when Chase was
but it's
doing
like-
it anyway.
Let's not use Magic references with 5,000 people, who most of which wouldn't have played Magic
like-
the Gathering.
you want to play Warlock Zoo, you need an Edwin. You want to play Paladin Control, you need an Edwin. You want to play Druid mid-range, you need an Edwin. You want to not have your head up your backside against everyone else, you need an Edwin.
So, but that was a case of power creep, right? Because every time a new set came out, they needed to release cards that people were going to go out and buy that set, right? Because if you release, because this set's going to be 120 cards. If the 120 cards that they release are weaker than the base set, people are not going to spend money on it.
Well, the other thing is that power creep, or is that just printing a stupid card? Because card games can do both of those.
Well, it's going to be the economic impact, isn't it? It's
And
like,
the latter,
Well,
latter happens.
This one
just
was a
as
power
much
creep
before.
because it was a shameless way of them getting people to buy boosters.
that was
Because
it.
they
You
knew
have
they
to
only
pay
had a
to
year
play
left in the game.
I'll get into World of Warcraft. But there's a very strong free play model for this one, isn't there? That a lot of people play it with very low spend, so there'll be a case of saying, well, actually, we don't need to print overpowered cards because a lot of people aren't going to pay. Anyway, there will be an element that do, but I think perhaps it's not as strong for this, where they know people will grind out a lot of their collections.
Well, I think it's a very real issue that might take over the game. Because ultimately, this game's going to be around for 5-10 years. They've already said this. So, 5 years down the line, if you go, I've got my deck, they've got to carry on releasing cards that are better than the existing things, or else there's never a risk of getting any money off you ever again.
The answer to this is a rotation, though, isn't it? Essentially, you have.
But they're not going to do that as well. They want to keep it simple, don't they?
Well, Arena's going to be crazy then, isn't it?
Yeah.
You get 3 of these 90,000 cards.
Yeah. I mean, I could see them rotating that first set that came out, the base set, maybe making a new base set, sort of having fixed. But because it's a digital game, they can just fix the cards individually, right? They don't have to re-release them.
No.
Thing is, when I'm looking at these cards, nothing screams out to me, oh, this is better than everything else. A lot of the stuff they've done is a converted mana cost of
I think, look, okay,
less
World
choice.
Championships we've just had, right? 59, was it, of the 62, 64 decks?
Played Lothar, yeah.
Had Lothar in. So people have to, if they want a tier 1 deck, have to get Naxxramas.
Oh, I think Naxxramas was a massive power creep.
Yeah.
I just don't think this set that's been spoiled so far is a massive mana creep. Massive power creep, sorry.
Well, do you not feel like... I mean, the priest cards we've mentioned, do you not feel that they're a necessity? Because they just seem ridiculously powerful.
Yeah, they do, but we've not seen the other cards to compare them to.
The other part we're going is it's a very small set anyway. By its sheer nature, when you take a set of 100 cards, 200 cards, and you add 200 more, you're going to have a variety of cards, some more powerful, some less powerful, but to the whole collection. It'd be different if we start with like, say, other card games, and there were already 1,000 cards out. It's very easy then to maybe add one more powerful card in there and still change the meta.
Now, I'm not talking power creep right here, right now, today. I'm talking over the next 5 years. You can see it just
I think it's
briefly starting now.
Yeah, I think it's inevitable in any game that's trying to make money.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But it also fundamentally ruins the game.
But I think, and the invariable thing is, it always gets to a point where it comes to a head, and then the fix, like you said, is they then rotate things out, or they then restrict, or however. But that's the usual fix, isn't it?
Well, what'll happen is if everyone's assuming the game's going in this time, like 4 days down the line, everyone's playing all these ridiculous cards. They'll just tone them back a bit.
Well, that's the other thing, is it Blizzard
They'll do what they did with the WoW
will
expansion,
happen
right?
to nerf cards that are overpowered. That's the difference from like the other printings, a real life version of cards.
It's an interesting thing because it's the first time a full digital card game has been very successful, right? So we don't know how they're planning to handle it down the line. Maybe they're not, but I'm assuming they're going to figure it out at some point. Because we haven't seen a card game that can retroactively go back and change all its cards.
Mm-hmm. But likewise, people don't like when their cards get nerfed, especially, if it's something they've paid money for. So it's something that I think they got to tread lightly on this one. They could do it wrong. Let's just leave it at that.
I think we could spend 20, 30 hours talking about it.
Oh,
I think I do find it very interesting. And if anyone else wants to leave a comment, I think this is sort of a good thing to talk about in the chat. I know YouTube chat is typically like the worst thing in the world.
No, it's not Twitch chat. We've got to deal with that on Wednesday.
But so this is the topic to talk about. Do you feel power creep will be an issue? And maybe this will be something we come back to in a couple of years' time, and someone will be like, "I told you so." So basically, all the cards that have been spoilt to date, Ben Brody said, had a high amount of RNG in them, and so all the non-RNG cards are still to be revealed.
/fix before reveal.
Didn't Ben Brody say, "Ha ha ha"? All the random cards have been spoiled.
But what's really interesting is that we've had pirates in the past, and the pirates were crap, completely unplayable. We've had murlocs, and there was one pretty okay murloc deck, but everyone built it the same way because there was only one way of playing that murloc deck. We've had any other? Can you think of any other groups of baddies?
Well, beasts.
Hunter.
Obviously.
We've had, we could say there's a beast deck, definitely for hunters.
Demon's the other one where there hasn't been anything really.
There's been an average deck. It's been there. It's just not handlocked. That's the problem.
But so this is the first class, I guess, the mech sort of class that feels like it's going to be competitive.
Yeah, it feels like they've given it a push, hasn't it? The irony is...
But I think there's going to be enough cards in it that you can build it a number of different ways as well.
The annoying thing is I think the combo-centric one will probably be the best in some way, with the costing less and all that rubbish.
Yeah. Always be wary of stuff that makes stuff cost less.
Says the Magic players.
Straight away.
Are you kind of worried about like an upgraded repair bot coming out on turn 3 instead of turn 5?
Yeah.
Like having a 5/5 on turn 3 and giving +4 health to one of the 3/2s that make all the other mechs cheaper.
Yeah. It's like you make... Well, they're 2/3s, aren't they? So it's like it comes down on turn 3 and you make your 2/7.
No. You coin it... First of all, you coin out the 3/2 on turn 1.
He's a 2/3.
You're going second.
He's a 2/3.
Yeah.
Or a 2/3, yeah. So, and then all your other mechs are cheaper from that point. So potentially you could play like a second one on turn 2.
How about this scenario? You make the 2/3 on, you coin turn 1. And turn 2, you make like the 3-drop +1/+1 get a spare part. Or you make 2 of the 1 drops.
He's not a mech. The Tinkertown technician
is he not?
not a mech himself. Yeah, I think they worked that one out. They went, yeah, that'd be pretty bad. But
just like they worked out.
You got the spider tank. That's 3 for 3/4.
You could certainly drop the 2/1 for 1 mech on turn 1 and then coin into the Tinkertown to have a 4/4 and a spare part on turn 2, which is reasonable.
Well, you could. Here's a nut draw for you. The 2/3 mech guy on turn 1. Turn 2, make double Undertaker. Make the double Death Drop 1 drop.
Or just make a spider tank on turn 2, and then the Tinkertown on turn 3. So you have turn 2, 3/4, turn 3, 4/4. So you're ahead of the curve. Even with that's a really simple one.
And turn 4, you make the +4.
Yeah, the 5/5
health on something. It's just like, here's my 3/8 tank.
Oh, by the way, I'm priest.
By the way, I'm priest, healing it up.
So yeah, I think he's going to be fine. I'm quite excited for it. I might start playing again.
Yeah.
Either way, you'll agree it was much needed. Yeah.
Yeah. This has happened to a lot of card games. Just like, you can't let it stagnate, otherwise people will just go off and do something else. Hearthstone has like the unique advantage that it's made by Wizard and that Blizzard, not Wizard, Blizzard, and has sort of the massive fan base that Blizzard has built over the last sort of 10 years. So they'll get away with quite a lot.
Goodwill, we call it.
But at the end of the day, you still have to have your game your game has to be in motion. And especially considering decks in Hearthstone are 30 cards, it's like there's not a huge amount of room for manoeuvre once a format gets solved and inverted.
Can we see the 30 card minimum, maybe going up to 35 or 40 in the future?
Yeah, I can see it becoming 40 quite quickly.
Yep, I can see that being a good thing.
Means less flame strikes per card draw.
You're just trying to slip anything to get less flame.
Anything to get less flame strikes. It was Pally to be number 1.
But it's got another 10 picks to pick up flame strikes.
But, so finally, up you all to wrap this one up, and for the people in chat as well. From the cards that have been spoiled, what's going to be the most powerful class? I'm going to stick with Priest.
Priest.
Yeah, Priest until we see more.
I love the idea of Velen's chosen. That's mwah. The upgraded repair bot. So anyway, that about wraps up our video, and enjoy the next 10 days of watching me play Constructed with Pally. It'll be the last time you ever see that, you know.
They'll be playing Priest.
Then it'll be mechs and priests everywhere.
What if they give Pally like a 2-mana 3/4? We go back to it then.
I think it needs more. It needs more. It needs another weapon. There we go.
You've only got Sword of Justice, Light's Justice, and True Silver. Haven't you?
You've only got True Silver. We don't class the others as weapons for Constructed. Yeah. Occasionally, like
Ashbringer's his weapon, right?
Ashbringer's okay. That's decent.
Mm-hmm. But he always gets silenced. You never get the weapon off that.
Yeah.
And it's the weapon's 5/3, and he's got 5 power, and he's a 6/6. So that means he's a 1/6 without his weapon. What's he been training? He's as strong as a silver hand recruit. Tyrion without his weapon.
He's old.
Like I say, he hasn't done karate or martial arts. I think he practiced with a sword. What's he going to do without his sword? Headbutt them?
Slap them.
Yeah, that's it. Geriatric slapping, yeah.
Punch.
For a 1/6.
Well, right. You wanna head off now, Lee, don't you? You're ready.
It's just coming up to an hour 10 on the video.
He's like,
we got another.
Not paying him enough to do another hour.
We've got another 10, 12 dungeons to do on the WoW videos. We got to get going, man.
Yeah. So obviously, for those who realise, Wednesday's happening in a day, and we just want to get our alts up to level 90.
Which means the game will be ready to play on Thursday.
Yeah.
Craig talked about that on another time. He said, you know what, server's going to come up, and the server's going to go down. And it's going to come back up at 2 AM when everyone's finally given up.
Oh, I like my idea better. They're going to come up at about 5:30, just as everyone's getting in from work. And then they're going to go down again because there's too many people trying to get on.
There's going to be queues. Oh, yes. That's why I play on a
Not on Kilrog, yeah, no queues on
Kilrog. That's why I want everyone on Kilrog. The server's empty. It's like if you pick up that quest to kill 20 ogres, there's going to be 20 ogres for you to kill. You go onto some of those busy servers, it's going to be like, bing! Ogre appears, 12 people jump on him.
Kilrog, the ogres are there going, we've seen an adventure, we've heard of them, where are they? Yes, well, there they are. One.
But the cool thing about being an ogre is at least you can have a conversation with yourself.
Yeah, true.
If you're a spellcaster, right? It's only the
if you're an ogre mage.
Yeah,
if you're an ogre.
You get the 2 heads.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
I'm not ready.
Anyway, guys.
Just
any last comments?
Warcraft 3. Anyone who's got Warcraft, I think it's Warcraft 3. It might be Warcraft 2. Anyone who's got that, just play that and just spend ages clicking on all the units just to get their angry emo.
Ready for work.
Yes. Yeah.
So good night. That's what I've got to say.
From the rest of us, then, ta-da.